Frankie, how is Mom going to craft with you sitting on the craft mat? Huh? Is you helping? You want to be in the video? Is that the problem? Aww. Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's crafting edition of the Wellness Homesteader. Anyone else anxious for fall, y'all? I think because this has been an exceptionally hot and dry summer, it's made me even more anxious, but I usually like to have my house decorated for fall around the 1st of September, and I will put some Halloween touches in, and then I take those down and put a few Thanksgiving touches in, but the fall will stay up pretty much until it's time to decorate for Christmas. So one of the things that I want to make this year is not a fall wreath, but a Halloween wreath. Now you could certainly do just a fall themed wreath, but I have a couple of those. So I wanted to do something kind of cute spooky, let's say, not scary spooky. So let me show you all of the materials that I'm going to be using. Now, I'm not going to make you watch paint dry because it can get a little dull watching me do the same thing over and over. So I can speed it up, or I can show you one or two and then pause and come back. So the first thing I am using is a large dimensional wreath. So as you see, instead of being a flat wreath with several rings, it actually has dimension here. And we will be attaching all the pretty things both to the outside bottom and the inside top. So this is going to make a pretty deep wreath. I will tell y'all, if you have a storm door in addition to your front door, it'll squish when you shut the door. So I hang a lot of this type of thing indoors. This particular wreath, and I will leave a link to the website where you can shop, is from hardworkingmom.com/shop. The ties, instead of just being pipe cleaners, are like limbs of an artificial Christmas tree. They are so nice, and your wreath stays together and looks beautiful year after year after year. So here's what I kind of have pulled out. I have your basic orange mesh, but it's got a little metallic thread. I have a black mesh that's very similar, and I have a couple rolls of this. I think I've used some of this, but I'm not sure. So we'll see if we have enough. If not, I have another one. Then I wanted 4 different ribbons. So 2 of the ribbons need to be the 2.5-inch wide, and 2 of the ribbons need to be 1.5-inch wide. So I chose this stripe in the plaid. And then for my spooky element here, I don't know if y'all can see, that's a little haunted house, and I'm going to use this candy corn fall inspired ribbon to go with. I purchased those from a variety of places, y'all, but Hardworking Mom has tons of ribbon. I'm sure you can find something. I think everything but the buffalo check did come from her website. I'm not sure if I will use these or not, but I have sort of the coppery orange and the black mesh tubes from the Dollar Tree. And then you're going to need you're going to need something, you know, as your focal point. So I chose this. It's got the kind of scary pumpkins and such on it, and I thought it was just super cute. You're going to need some supplies to assemble the wreath, so let me show you those as well. It's really simple. So you need something to cut your mesh with. You can do it with scissors. I like to do it with a rotary cutter. From Dollar General, I got these clothespins to help hold my mesh. You're going to need some fairly fine gauge wire to wire the sign to the wreath. I use this giant plastic needle, which you can buy these on Amazon, super inexpensive, to feed the sign wire through because it can be a little challenging with the mesh. I have some little tiny wire cutters, which you can use to cut off the excess of the ties as well as any wire. And then I have this itty bitty metal hole punch that I use to put holes in the sign. The final things that I will probably use today is just a plain old zip tie. I use that to shore up a bow in the center so that it stays together. And then I have the Easy Bow Maker, not a requirement. You can simply hold the ribbon in your hand. Once you've kind of invested in some of these tools, then all you need to buy is like the mesh and the ribbon and such. I find Hardworking Mom's prices to be excellent, but I will also say Hobby Lobby has some really great sales on the mesh and on ribbon. You usually find it listed on sale with, oddly enough, either floral or bridal. So just a little tip, don't pay full price for it, y'all. It's about $10 full price, and if it's 40% off or sometimes 50% off or sometimes 60% off, do the math. You know, it could be $4, $5, or $6, so don't pay full price. So I'm gonna get organized here. I'm gonna cut some of my mesh, and let me show you here. I just have a self-healing cutting mat. That's how I, roll out my mesh and measure it. There are fancy mesh holders that you can use. I don't want to store that. I don't have that. So let me get some things cut. I'll bring you back. I will share with you all of the cuts that you're going to need. This is going to be a little bit different than wreaths I've done in the past. And I'll also share about the ribbon. I'm going to get that cut. So I will see you shortly. Stay tuned. Hallelujah, it's raining. However, it's been storming, and we've been under a severe thunderstorm warning. They said 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. And Frankie is not a happy puppy with any kind of storms. He does not like them. If y'all can hear the thunder in the background, it's okay, buddy. He's right here by my feet. But he planted himself right in the middle here, and he's like, I sit here. It's closer to you. So I also apologize if you can hear the crank, crank, crank of my ceiling fan here in the kitchen. It's not that hot out. It's 76 degrees, but before it started raining, it was 86% humidity. So it just feels really muggy, and I'm kind of wearing a fall shirt, but that's okay. All right, let's get into making this wreath. So let me talk about what you need to cut out of your two, your orange and your black mesh. So I cut a total of 30 10-inch pieces. So 15 orange, 15 black. So you would want half and half of whatever colors you choose. I have 8 20-inch pieces, and again, alternating colors. So 4 20-inch orange, 4 20-inch black. And then I have 8 pieces of 8-inch that we're gonna make curls out of. And again, alternating the orange and black, so 4 orange, 4 black. Super simple, and I had quite a bit of mesh left over. So if we decide we want to alter the plan, we can. For ribbon, you want to use, I'm using, let me say, 4 different ribbons as I shared in the intro. So you want 2 sets, or a total of 4 pieces of one of the color combos. Oh great, and now my freeze dryer just kicked in. And then the same 4 pieces 2 of each of the other type of ribbon. So, like I said, this is gonna be a little bit different. All right, let me tip you down, and we will just do a couple of these, and then I will pause so it doesn't get too long. So on the wreaths that come from Hardworking Mom, you have 10 ties on the outside, 8 on the inside. So if you are making, and I do have videos, I will have the playlist at the end. If you are attaching your own chenille stems or pipe cleaners, whichever you call them, you want 10 on the outside, 8 on the inside. So I always start on the outside and then I push all of my ties in. Then for the 10 on the outside, we're just gonna go around and we're gonna open those up so that they're ready to receive the mesh that we're going to put on there. So I hope if you all needed rain as bad as we did, you're getting some. I find it quite amazing. You know what? Let me add a light here for us. See if that helps a little bit. Yeah, it does. Okay, so we are going to do the outside first, and we are going to grab our 30 10-inch pieces. So what we're going to do is we are going to make 3 curls and attach to each tie. We're not going to put any ribbon on the outside. So like I said, this is going to be quite different. You can use your clip, which is what I'm going to do, but all you want to do is just exactly like it sounds. You want to roll it up into a curl. So here's one. And you know what, y'all? I meant to cut that off. This was the start of the roll, and sometimes the start of your roll can be a bit uneven. Okay. Come on, Kim. And we'll do orange next. And the orange, for whatever reason, is a little stiffer than this black, but that's nice. You get a little variety here. And 3. And we're just going to pick a starting point. I'm going to place it down over the tie, and I'm going to twist it a couple times and straighten it out so that you can tell it's alternating. And there we have our first curl set. Now for the next one, we will use 2 orange and 1 black. So we're just gonna alternate each time. So let's go ahead and do that. And y'all, this mesh, particularly when it is metallic, it grabs everything. I just grabbed my own hair. I want to thank all of you for your kind and sweet comments. It's actually Sunday here today. I'm trying to stay ahead on videos. On Mom's birthday, surprise birthday celebration, and your compliments about my hair. When it's super hot and humid, because I do have naturally curly and frizzy hair, I have always just worn my hair up. It is so much more comfortable. But in the winter, I wear it down a lot more. Okay, so we're gonna place our second group, twist it twice. Now, if you're sure in your design that you don't want to add anything else, you could go ahead and twist this and cut it off. I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do, so I usually wait until the end. So there you have our second. So I'm going to continue around till I've used up all 30 of the 10-inch pieces. I'll bring you back at that time, and we will talk about what, if anything, we're going to add to these curl bundles and how to start on the inside. Y'all, we are getting the best rain. I am so excited. We had not had any rain here probably in 2 weeks, other than like a mist or whatever, but nothing in the rain gauge. And areas where my grass is very thin on the woods line, I just had big cracks in the dirt. So I was worried about the chickens, and they're like, what? It's not a big deal. So they're not afraid of the storm. So here's what it looks like, guys. Isn't it cute with all the curly curls? Now, I have not trimmed these back because I'm not sure whether or not this is going to match. I do have 2 packages of this. It's 15 feet, so I have 30 feet of this. I don't know whether I'm gonna put it on or not, so I'm just going to leave my pipe cleaners or my artificial tree ties, whatever you call them, just as they are for right now. So we're gonna set that aside and start on part 2. And y'all just plan on sweeping when you're done because the mesh will leave these little pieces everywhere. And so I just let it fly, scoot it off to the side, and I'll mop at the end. All right, so we need to start work on the inside. Let me tip you down here. And first thing I'm going to do is open up all of my ties. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And one thing I did want to mention, the texture of the black mesh is much lighter and thinner than the orange, but that's actually good because that is making like, I think, more interest and dimension to the whole project because the textures are different. So we have our 8 open. What are we going to put in there? Well, let me show you. So we are going to use our, wait, 20 inch. Yeah, okay, let's get it right. We're gonna use our 20-inch long pieces. And let's just start here on the inside with an orange. And we are just going to make like a fan shape. So let me scooch this out, and you can start by folding under if you want, and then you want to push your fingers forward, walk the mesh back, and try to stay in the middle of it. I'm not always real good about that part. So what you're going to end up with is this cute little bow tie that looks like this. So on top of that, we are going to take out of our 8-inch, we are going to make a curl of it, the alternating colors. So we're going to put a black curl on the orange ruffle. Like yay. Might be better to do the curl first, honestly, if you're using a clothespin instead of, you know, unless you have 4 arms. Now, we're gonna add 2 of our ribbons, and let's see. I think we will use this color combination. And this ribbon that I got from Hardworking Mom, if you can see, it's actually textured. I don't know if you can see that. And it's like a velveteen. It's so nice. So I've dovetailed the ends. I'm gonna fold this in half. And this will go on here as well. So I'm gonna place the mesh first. And give it a twist or two, and then for the inside ribbon, I'm just going to gather it in the middle, do a couple more twists, and then I will fan out the ribbon using one color on top on one side, but on the other side it's on the bottom. So this is what you will have. So cute. Now, I know for sure that I'm not going to put anything else on here, but because this is a spooky Halloween wreath, I'm not going to cut these ties off. I think it will add just more dimension. So I'm just going to twist it together, roll it down like a little knot for the bow. Kind of straighten up that bottom row. You know, I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut off. I need to make a decision about the bottom because that's gonna be in the way. So let me do some experimenting, but you have the idea of what we're going to do. So the next bundle, and there'll be 8 all the way around, we'll have these ribbons. So stay tuned. The black mesh tubing on the bottom or the outside is just really lost, and it's super pretty and glittery. So I'm gonna set it aside and maybe we can use it when we make the bows for the wreath. One nice thing about this wreath is even though it is dimensional, it is not the huge, big puffy wreaths that you have seen me make in the past, because I'm hoping to be able to hang this on my front door, but we shall see. So I'm gonna speed myself up. Again, we're gonna make a ruffle, alternating colors out of the 20-inch mesh. We will attach an 8-inch curl of a different color, and we will alternate our ribbon sets all the way around, and there's 8 in the center. So I'm gonna speed myself up. One thing I realized, y'all, as I was giving you directions, I actually wrote it down wrong. You're going to need 4 sets of 2 of each color combination. So 4 of these, 4 of these. So I had to stop and cut. So I'm going to go the rest of the way around with my ribbon, and then we will begin working on the sign. Well, here we have our very, very cute, let me tip up the camera, completed mesh and ribbon. So having a round sign, I really think in the center it's going to look the best. So what you need to do here, it's pretty easy. I'm going to tip you back down. I'm gonna line up the sign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm gonna make a dot. Get this straight here. At the 4-inch mark, which is dead center. Just with a Sharpie. And next, I'm going to take my little hole punch tool, and I am going to punch a hole right on that black dot. And I'll show you here in just a second what that looks like. And I have used like an awl, just anything that will poke through, but it does make a nice, neat hole. And now we need some wire because we're gonna actually wire it to the frame. So let me cut a couple pieces, maybe. My cutters are getting a little dull here. I've made many a wreath, that is for sure. So somebody will want to know about 20 inches worth of wire. I just like to have enough wire that I don't have to fuss with it. You know, I don't want to be struggling with short pieces of wire. So I'm going to thread that through the hole, bring the ends up evenly, and then I'm going to actually twist the sign. So this will secure the wire to the actual sign. So we'll do that on both sides. You could do top and bottom. You can do side to side on a round sign. It doesn't matter. If you have an oval or a square sign, you can also consider putting it on the side of the wreath. Because this one is round, I think it will look the best in the center. I did kind of hold it up on the side and I didn't like it. All right, let me get that tightened down so it's not floppy. Good. Okay, now our giant plastic needle is going to come in handy. I'm going to feed both pieces of wire through the big eye. And if you end up going through your mesh, y'all, it's no problem at all. But what we're aiming to do is to go through the actual wreath wire so that we can tighten that up. And we'll bring it forward so that it does show. So let me go ahead and unthread the needle. And I'm going to put one of these wires on one side of the wire frame, the other on the other. And then I'm going to twist. Now, one thing you do want to be careful of is that you tuck in any wire, because what you don't want to happen is it scratch your door. That would be bad, particularly if you're making these to sell. And y'all, these go for quite a large amount of money. Like at festivals, bazaars, things like that. I mean, I'm always amazed at how much they cost, but I will say they are labor intensive, and people deserve to, you know, make a profit on their handicrafts for sure. All right. So the hole is actually bigger, of course, than the sign. So let's go ahead and thread the second one through. And find the wire frame. So even though I was fluffing as I went on the ribbon, obviously you're gonna smash it when you're doing some of these things. So it's okay, you can refluff. I just like to fluff as I go so I have an idea how full my wreath is getting, and you know what it looks like. Does it need additional items in it? Okay, so let's kind of see where we are here. And we still have to put our bows on, so I think that, oh my goodness, y'all can't see. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to finish securing the sign, and then I'll bring you back. We're going to make some ribbons. Some of you may be wondering, oh no, it's raveling, what do I do? Well, it is going to ravel while you're handling it. You can cut off the real long pieces, but once you stop handling it, it will stop raveling. So I will cut off things that look unsightly, but don't make yourself crazy with it. Thankfully, it's a woman's prerogative to change your mind, and a man's too. I decided I liked it better on the side. When I put it in the middle, it was overwhelmed by the ribbons, and it really didn't show the cuteness of, there we go, the sign. So now we have pardon me, a few choices. We could call it finished. We could put one bow here, a big bow, or we could do 3 small bows, which is what I think I'm going to do. So let me set this aside, but I might change my mind. I see I'm crooked, sorry guys. We're still having some rumbles of thunder, but I have to tell you, we needed the rain so badly. I am grateful. So we're going to do a little bit different on our bows today. We are going to actually, let me tip you down here. We're going to cut some mesh. And I wrote out my idea. We'll see how it works. So we're going to cut some curls, and curls are generally 8 inches long. So let's see, that would be, and we're going to cut, I've got both colors together, and I'm just cutting them both at the same time. And we're going to cut 3 sets for 3 bows. If we don't end up using them, I will simply roll it back up on the mesh roll, and I'll use it for another project. And definitely gonna have mesh left over. I just hope I have enough ribbon. That's my one concern, but we shall see. You don't want to plan too far ahead, right? Okay. So there are our curls. And as you see, these are 10-yard deco mesh rolls, and I still have quite a bit left of both. Okay, now I'm going to grab my bow maker, and we are going to create, in my mind, 2 identical bows, one kind of different. So to prevent the bow from just sinking down into all that mesh, we are going to put curls of mesh down first, and I'm going to have one kind of go in one direction and one kind of go in the other, and that will give it a good solid base so you won't lose the bow. And again, if it's starting to look like overdone, then we can change and just do 1 bow or 2 bows or no bows, or, you know, that's the beauty of this. So I do want 2 of the bows to be identical. I always start with the wider ribbon, and I think, well, I guess I can measure it this way, can't I? It's 2.5-inch ribbon, and then the smaller ribbon is 1.5. Okay, so let's start by making about a 5-inch tail. Now, if you do not have an easy bow maker, you can hold all this in your hand. I'm just very poor at it. So as you see, there are measuring marks along this. So I can say, okay, that's 5 inches for my tail. And so that your ribbon isn't inside out, you'll have to twist. So let's do about a 5.5-inch loop. Wow, that looks big, but we'll try it. You know, you make these plans and you're like, this is perfect, and then when you start to actually do it, you're like, I don't know. Okay. Let's go ahead and do 2 sets of loops. It is going to be a pretty big bow. And I may just end up with 1 bow. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. And again, I'm just twisting each time. If you were holding it in your hand, you would be following the same process. Okay. Now, our tail here to be 5 inches. We're going to cut that about right here. And I like to go ahead and dovetail my ribbon as I go. So I'm just going to cut fold it in half, cut it at an angle, and you have a nice finished look. It makes your wreath look so much more professional when you dovetail it. Okay, so I want these going at different angles, the tails. So I've got one going up, one going down. So the next color is the 1.5 inches, the one that reminds me of candy corn. And we will put the tail kind of going this way. And this also has a right side out and an inside out. And I'm basically making the loops all about the same size. Might be a little smaller, like 1/2 inch on this color. This is an excellent ribbon, but it is quite stiff. So a little tougher to work with. And I highly recommend, y'all, you buy your ribbon in spools rather than to go back in like the fabric section and try to buy it by the yard. You will save so much money buying it in the spool. And again, watch for those sales because sometimes it's surprising. 2, 3, 4. How much off you can get. And I did not know that it was over in the season, or not in the seasonal, it would be over in the bridal. You can find a lot at Hobby Lobby. The bridal / floral. All right. So wow, what a bow, right? Next, we're going to use this gorgeous ribbon. I tell you, this is my favorite of all of it. It is just so luxurious. And it is also a one-sided material, so again, twist. So I'm sure you can see by now how handy this bow maker is just to hold things in place. I have done bows without it, but they are infinitely better with it. And I am thinking, guys, that one of these may just be a gracious plenty. So let's, where's the tail to this? Did I, nope, there's the tail. So we'll go up with this one. So we're making, some people call these spider bows because the tails go out like spider legs. It's just a bow. And you can do any sort of combination that suits you. And then our final color, you're gonna have plenty of ribbon, it looks like. Oh yeah, and these were 10-yard rolls. So this one I've had for a long time, so it may have actually been used in part, but it looks like we're gonna have enough at any rate, whether we do 1 or 3. This is also right side, wrong side. It does not look the same on both sides, so you want to twist it each time. And if I haven't said this, this is all wired ribbon. That is what makes it so easy to shape and really give your wreath some dimension and heft, if you will. You know, the more I look at this, the more I'm not sure this is two-sided, but that's okay. We'll twist it for consistency's sake. Our last loop. tail here. Okay. And go ahead and dovetail our last set of ribbons. And then how are we going to get this monstrosity off? Well, I could do better than that without it unraveling. I'm glad you asked, because it's actually very, very simple. Where would the world be without zip ties, right? I love zip ties for different craft projects. Okay, so you don't want to use a puny zip tie. You want something that's fairly sturdy. Well, so here you go. This is an 8-inch zip tie. I am going to slide it underneath all of these loops. I'm going to latch it together, but not cinch it up impossibly tight. Oop. Well, y'all, sorry, I'm having trouble getting it latched. There we go. And then you want to lift from the bottom. And then you can see the crease. You want to slide your zip tie over into the crease. So that your bow is centered. You want to turn the latch part to the back. Pull it up, but not completely tight yet. And then we need a pipe cleaner. All right, so I might have cinched this a little bit tight. You want to feed the pipe cleaner underneath the zip tie. And this is what we will actually use to attach it to our wreath. So I'm just gonna give that a little twist. Now we can pull it tight, and then you want to work on your actual ribbon shape. And if you pull and twist, it will give you a lot of dimension to your bow. So a little bit of fussing, but it's really worth it, because this makes a huge, huge difference in how your bow looks if it's really nice and fluffed. And I'm trying to spread out the tails and the loops from each other so that it's showing all the pretty colors that we've used. Finish this candy corn one. Honestly, y'all, I think one may be, like I said, a gracious plenty. So let's finish fluffing, and then we can decide, because I kind of have hopes of being able to put this on my front door. Okay. Not seeing all the tails like I would like to, but we're working on it here. And you'll fuss with it more when you actually get it on. But how pretty is this? I mean, it looks like a Halloween bridal bouquet. So I'm going to cut off the zip tie here. And let's take a look at our wreath and decide whether we need multiple bows or if one is going to suit us. And I think one is going to do it. Yeah, I want me to be up a little bit here. I think any more than that, or we can put the bow, I think maybe the bow at the top. There we go. is going to be too much. So let me do the final touches here. I will bring you back and show you what the finished product looks like. Our wreath is finished. I know that there's a little bit of a reflection from the ring lights. Let me show you without. How cute is that? Nice big bow up top. A little Halloween going on there. So very, very simple. Didn't take a ton of materials. I had at least half of the 10-yard roll of ribbon left of every color. So if you're looking for a project, you can buy all the materials at Dollar Tree except for the dimensional wreath, but you could certainly do it on a flat wreath. It just won't be quite as deep. So drop me a comment below. Are you getting in the fall mood? Are you ready for a little spooky season decorating? I sure hope so. I will see you all very soon, but in the meantime, don't forget to smash that like button, share my video, it really helps me out. Be healthy, be well, be blessed, take care, see you soon.